listening to Speaking with One Voice with Rodney Payne. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, topics you'd like discussed on the show, or if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please email us at rpayne@onevoiceinc.org. That's rpayne@onevoiceinc.org. You can also search for us on Acast, Google Play, SoundCloud, and iTunes. Just look for Speaking with One Voice. Now, here's your host, Rodney Payne.
Hello, and welcome to Speaking with One Voice. I am your host, the coach, Rodney Payne. Listen, let me first of all thank you all for hanging in there with me. There have been a few changes, and as you can see, we are in a new studio, and I am so excited to keep adding value to you and your leadership team. As always, please follow us on all of our social media platforms at Rodney R. Payne, at Rodney R. Payne. And if we can help you, RodneyRPayne.com, you can get information. That's where we can do it. So we're going to get back into helping you and your leadership team. And we are so excited about what's going on with the opportunities that we have to help you, speaking engagement. So let's get into this thing. Again, you know I'm here every week just for you, just for your team. And if you got questions, we love to hear comments, thoughts, feedback. Get with us. Everything is at Rodney R. Payne. All right, let's hop into today's topic. Today, as we begin the second quarter, we're at the top of the second quarter of the year, and I didn't do this at the beginning of the year, but this year, and with every year, I have a word for the year. If I were to use the same word all the time, my word would always be intentionality. I believe that you should be intentional in everything that you do each and every day of your life, and you make progress that way. This year, I do have a new word, and that word is growth. That word is growth. So over the next two episodes, we're going to talk about growth from an acronym perspective, and we're going to see how we can really grow as individuals and grow as leaders. You know, I'm all about your full potential in every area of your life. And you know, my tagline and my slogan is, I don't celebrate small victories. I celebrate all victories. That's right. So take a minute and give yourself some encouragement that you're investing in yourself as a leader by listening to Speaking with One Voice. Now, let's get into this thing. I can't wait. So growth as an acronym is going to be, first of all, generosity, then relationships, ownership, wisdom, being teachable, and health. So these six pillars that I'm looking at for the year, and I'm a quarter in, so I can kind of look back and reflect and see how I'm doing. So as we hop into this thing, the first thing that we as leaders really need to understand is that if you're going to grow as a leader, grow as an individual, you have to learn how to be generous. Now, there are some people, I must admit, that generosity is just a part of their DNA. It's a part of who they are. They're always generous, and they're just give, and they give their time. But if you're not careful, you can overgive. So when we talk about generosity as a leader and how we grow as a leader, we have to first understand the importance of generosity. What role does it play in your personal growth and your leadership development? See, what happens is that there are leaders. I've had opportunities to take over a new role, for instance. When I took over the new role, I began to call people who were in similar roles and say, how do you prepare this? How do you plan this? What do you do to get your team ready? What's your meeting structure look like? And you'd be surprised at the number of leaders who were unwilling to share any information. They were information hoarders. They basically said, I figured it out for myself. You figure it out for yourself. But what I found to be a common thread among successful leaders is they are very generous. They are willing to help you to grow. They understand that it takes a team, it takes a village, it takes experience, and that they don't hinder themselves by helping you. So I want you to be generous. Now, one of the things as we talk about generosity that's important, there's always this concern that someone will take advantage of me and they'll take my intellectual property and they'll misuse it. And there are people that are calling you to set up appointments with you just to get inside information on your systems. What I've come to find out is that it doesn't matter how much data they have about me. What they can never do is they can never be me. That's why we give you information and content on this platform, being generous to help you, because you can't hurt me by me helping you. So it has to be an attitude or a mindset. So you have to be ready to share, willing to share. And I get it. I get it. Don't put yourself in a position where you're just there and you're just information for somebody who's leeching information. But what I'm saying is, when you develop relationships, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, but as you're looking to be generous, use wisdom, and we'll talk about that as well. But really, don't be afraid to share. You can't hurt yourself by helping someone else to grow, because they can never be you. So you want to be ready to give and be liberal. I have as many coaching conversations with my clients as I have coaching conversations over coffee that are not paid clients. But most of my clients have become clients because of my generosity, because I was willing to solve a problem. I don't do loss leaders. On this platform here, my goal is to make sure that we add value to you each and every week. So we're not trying to give you information just enough that can't help you. I want to help you. I want you to work with this and understand that if there's more that we can do together, great. But if we don't do anything else together, by the time you're investing here, you're going to get something back. Remember, I don't believe in wasting time. I believe in investing time so that it pays me back. Not only we have to be ready for generosity, but it means that we have to share. But when you're looking to share, you have to share with those who are valuable to you. See, if you want to look for a good place to be generous, where you value people, that will be where you share your information. When you value people, it changes everything about what's going on and how you approach generosity. So for me, I am a person of value. I value people. You know, my mentor, John Maxwell, that's part of what we do, is we value people. But I am genuinely concerned about you, which is why I always give more than I ask. I think about it this way: as a part of my daily life, my daily function, my daily, I'll call it a career or job, but really it's my passion. What I get to do is I get to sit and have a front row seat. I get to watch you as you achieve your goals, as you make it to the level that you want to make it to, because we've been able to work together and help you. And through generosity, you've gotten more than you asked for, more than you expected, and then you were able to achieve what was already in you. That is so exciting to me, and that's why I've always been a giver. So you have to find the people that are valuable to you, and then make sure that you're a giver to them. And really, generosity simply begins with your attitude. Now, listen, when I say attitude, I'm not talking about being angry or excited. I'm really talking about how you view things, your attitude. So many people who have a negative disposition they look at things always from a glass less than half empty perspective. It's less than that. And that's how they view things. So when you have a negative attitude, you'll never be generous. But what I believe is that if I have a positive attitude, it promotes generosity. And I've never been in a situation where I'm able to be generous and it harms me. I always want to do the right thing. I always want to give where necessary, give where the opportunity presents itself. And I'm always willing to give to a willing recipient. One thing I learned from John Maxwell is that whenever someone would give him an opportunity to have a conversation with them, he so valued their time that he would have a list of questions ready for them. Because he was so prepared, he often got second and third meetings because he was grateful for their value and showed how they valued him. So he wanted to value their time. When you're generous with the time that you give, people will appreciate that and respond in kind. And then again, the payday is that I get to be a part of that growth process and see you as you fully develop. So when we think about generosity, there's really three areas that you need to consider: your time, your talent, and your treasure. Your time. Be generous with your time. I know time is difficult because we don't have much of it, it seems, but I understand this: we all get the same amount. What do you do with your time? Are you wasting time? Are you scrolling, or are you adding value? So be generous with your time, but in order to do that, you have to be a good steward of your time. Be generous with your talent. Remember this: just because it's easy for you does not mean it's easy for someone else. So when you're looking at your talent, don't take for granted that someone else can do what you do. Like for me, I love to talk. My mother told me just last week that I was 2 months old and I started talking. And to be quite frank with you, she said I haven't stopped since. Well, I love it. So a microphone doesn't bother me. A camera doesn't bother me. A stage doesn't bother me. As a matter of fact, the bigger, the better. Well, you know that the fear of public speaking is the number one fear that anyone has. So some even more so than dying. I mean, it's bad. But for me, that's not a problem for me. So I have to be careful not to say, hey, oh, you got this. This is easy. No, it's easy, maybe easy for me, but not for you. So make sure you're generous with your talent. And then your treasure, what's valuable to you. Be sure to share that. I tell you, listen, what I found out is that the most successful leaders are awesome decision makers, and more than that, they are avid readers. Those who are high level leaders, they read, read, read. So if you want to get ahead, get some books. We now have podcasts. We used to have them where you could only listen to them. Now we have them where you can see them. What I'm saying is use your resources, be generous with your resources, tell people what you do to get where you are. Most successful people will tell you and give you tips off the top. And all you have to do is ask and then go do the work. Not only are we talking about generosity as our word for the year is growth, we're going to talk about relationships. Now, relationships are very tricky. When you think about relationships, I want you to understand that I'm talking about healthy relationships. I'm talking about a healthy community. When you build a relationship, I know there are various levels. The challenge for me is I have various types of relationships, but I'm always the same person. So I have to understand that when I build relationships, I don't do business with disingenuous people. I'm very authentic. And so it's important to me to have relationships that fall into that so that I can be fully who I am. Sometimes you may have an opportunity. It may look extremely lucrative. It may be extremely lucrative on the surface. You can make X number of dollars if only you do this. But the person has different values than you. They have different guiding principles than you. And so working together will always be a challenge. That's why I tell people do collaborations in business, not partnerships. A partnership, you got to count on your partner to bring it every day, just like you do. And that doesn't always work. But when we collaborate, collaborations are based on projects, not partnerships. So we can get through that because relationships are critical. I want you to know that no man rises above where he is alone. It's all about those around him and the relationships he's established. There are people that have propelled my career and my business far ahead simply by being in proximity to them and knowing them. So you want to have strong relationships. Now, here's the thing. We use this word now, kind of throw it around. The word is friend, right? I have so many friends. Well, let me just tell you, if you got 1 to 3 friends, you are wealthy, my friend. I want to tell you that. But let's look at this from this perspective. Every relationship isn't the same. And so if you could think of a picture that I'm drawing for you, it would be the anim rings on a tree. The center would be the core, and then the further bands you go out would be as close as people come in. The challenge with the core is this. To be in the core, I have to be willing and available to share with you and to serve you at the same level you're willing to serve me. And that's all in. So really, if you think about it, you don't have capacity for too many intimate relationships like that. And then beyond that, what I do is I call them markers. No matter how far on that anim ring we come in or out, I know that I never expect more from you than you bring and show me as we build a relationship. That way, you can never disappoint me. So I want you to build relationships and understand the reason I share this with you is because every relationship requires accountability. You have to be accountable. You have to be answerable to what that relationship is. So whether it's a spousal relationship or whether it's a business relationship, whether it's a spiritual relationship, whether it's a transaction, client relationship, whatever the relationship is, you have to be answerable to those you're in the relationship with. So relationships are very critical and core to your personal growth and development. And if you're going to have relationships, guess what comes with relationships? No extra money required. It's included, free shipping and handling. It comes with every relationship, whether you want it or not. What is that? Conflict. That's right. You're going to have conflicts. There are going to be challenges that you are going to have to face within those relationships. And you want to understand if you value people, and you value relationships, then you will look to resolve conflicts and you'll put yourself in a better position to succeed. This is so important, my friends, that you understand the power of relationships and the responsibility of relationships. And more than that, the cost of relationships. You have to pay. The better the relationship, the more it costs. It may be easier, right? Because you understand the person, they understand you, you know each other, and the yin and the yang, and you get all of that. But at the end of the day, at some point, that relationship will cost you because you're going to have to make a sacrifice that you weren't anticipating. There'll be an inconvenient call that you'll have to respond to. But when you have a good relationship, it's going to build your business. And when you can build good relationships outside of your business, then you can bring that into your business. And good relationships inside the business are going to help your business to grow. Listen, you are listening to Speaking with One Voice with your host, the Coach Rodney Payne. So excited to be with you again. So excited to be back in the studio and glad you've joined us. Make sure you're following us on all of our social media platforms at Rodney R. Payne. Now let's get back into this word for the year in part one, where we're going to talk about a few things. We've talked about generosity. We've talked about relationships. And let me give you one more topic. Let's talk about ownership. Ruh-roh, ownership. That's right. So when I talk about ownership, this is no passing the buck for me this year. No passing the buck. I want you to own everything about your business, everything about your personal life, everything about your personal growth and development, everything about your leadership, everything about your team. In other words, we will not be passing the buck. It will not be anyone else's fault. Can I say it differently? How about we say it this way? No more excuses. That's it. No more excuses. So I want you to understand that your personal growth and development is your responsibility. It's your responsibility. One of my mentors, G.R.O.W.T.H out of Plano, Texas, he says this. He tells a story. He happens to be a pastor, and he says when he started pastoring, he couldn't afford to buy books. Now you can download books, but then you had to actually go buy a physical book. He couldn't afford to do that, and he knew he needed to grow. So what he would do is he would go to the local bookstore and he would get a book off the shelf and he would read as much as he could while he was there, put the book back on the shelf, and then come back the next day and do the same thing until he had consumed the content. What was he doing? He was taking ownership of his personal growth and development. He didn't say, I can't afford a coach. I can't afford a mentor. He had some very strong, influential people who mentored him, but he never met them. He read their material. He consumed their content, and they mentored him from afar. So when you decide to take ownership of your processes, guess what, my friend? You will grow, and you can use this. Why do we do Speaking with One Voice at no cost? It's so that we can add value to you, whether you have a dollar or not. As long as you've got 20 minutes and a note-taking device, guess what? You're going to get value each and every time. And I want you to own that process. Stop making excuses. Stop saying others have an advantage. You've got to decide what you do well, and own your journey. Own your success. Understand, not everybody is built for everything, but everyone is built for something. What is your thing? You have to own identifying it. Then you have to own building it and growing into it. You're listening to this, so I know you're a leader. So it's time to step into your leadership and then stop rinsing and repeating what you've done the past 20 years. We are in a new age, a new day, and I know you are technology deficient and you don't like it and you're anti-growth. Well, let me tell you, AI is here to stay. So you'd better learn how to leverage AI, not surrender to AI. You have to own the process of growth, and it has to align with your purpose. And when you do that, my friend, I tell you, you will begin to see changes and movement in your organization. You'll see it on your team, and ultimately your fulfillment and satisfaction will grow. It won't just happen. You have to develop strategies. That's right. You know, it's my word, strategies. You have to develop strategies for how do I plan to grow. Don't try to grow in 15 areas at one time. Pick one, master it, and repeat that process on the next area where you want to grow. So I'm going to end with this. I want you to own your process, owning it, own it. Can I give you a little acronym within the acronym? So we're talking about growth, and which is generosity and relationships, and we're at the ownership. Let me give you an ownership acronym just with own. Number one, O is to observe your life. If you don't step back, take a true valuation assessment of what you do, unbiased, naked eye, let's look at it. If you don't know where you are, you will never know where you want to go and you can't get there. So you have to own your life. The W, my friends, lean in. This is so good. You have to be willing to commit. This doesn't happen if you don't decide to commit. You got to be willing to commit. It's up to you. Are you going to do it? Will you put in the work? Are you an entrepreneur who wants a full-time entrepreneur salary, but you only want to work 5 hours a week? Now you got to commit. If you want a 40-hour pay week, you got to work 80 hours a week to get there until you grow. That's what it is. You have to do that. So own your life, your development, your growth. Be willing to commit, and then spend time, invest time in nurturing relationships. Nurturing relationships. Relationships can get you through places you'll never get by yourself. Listen, that's all I have time for. This is part 1 of my word for the year, which is growth. I'll see you next week with part 2, and we'll finish up the rest of this. But my goal for you today is that you would commit to grow. And you know what? You're listening to Speaking with One Voice. I'm your host, Coach Rodney Payne. As always, thank you for being in the room. Thank you for investing in you. Thank you for believing in you. I know you can do this. I believe in you as a leader. Let's get it. Let's go. Oh, my goodness. I got to get out of here. Make sure you stop by the website, rodneyrpayne.com. Be sure and follow us on social media. Turn on your notifications. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Rodney R. Payne. And wherever you're consuming this content, keep on coming back and make sure you interact with us. Listen, I am your host, the Coach Rodney Payne. You've been listening to Speaking with One Voice. And until next time, my friends, let's keep growing together.
You've been listening to Speaking with One Voice. Please remember to follow Rodney Payne on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Rodney R. Payne. We'd love to hear from you and get your feedback, so please feel free to leave us comments. And if you would, rate and subscribe to the podcast, we'd appreciate that as well. Don't forget to set up for notifications so you can get the latest updates and social media posts and get new podcasts when they're released. As always, use the hashtag Speaking with One Voice or simply SWOV on any of your social media posts. On behalf of Rodney